Making headlines this hour, President reaffirms the urgent need to safeguard Maldivian children from harmful influences. President stresses the urgency of preparing children to navigate the sweeping transformations reshaping the world. And President defines eradication of corruption as one of the primary objectives of digitalization. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News English with me, Aishat Ika Muhammad Nazil, Jamaluddin School.
And me, Sophia Mariam Muhammad from Dharmawanta School. On the occasion of Children's Day, I wish all the children watching a very happy Children's Day. Now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz, in a National Children's Day address, reaffirms the urgent need to safeguard Maldivian children from harmful influences, describing their upbringing as a great assurance for a prosperous future. He characterized children as the delight of our eyes and the comfort of our souls, underscoring their fundamental role in shaping the nation's destiny. Marking the significance of the occasion, the President called for a collective resolve to protect children from negativity, describing Children's Day as a moment that connects the nation's present joy with its hopes for tomorrow. He pointed out that children comprise 1/4 of the Maldivian population and, in time, will assume the responsibility of leading the country. The development into a capable generation, one that safeguards Maldivian sovereignty, dignity, and cultural identity, is a national duty, he asserted. Referencing the teachings of the noble Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, President Muiz stressed the purity with which every child is born and the role of guardians in shaping their character and beliefs. Children inherently embody innocence and sincerity with their nature, he started. They perceive adults as protectors, mentors, and supporters, always remaining receptive to the wisdom of the elders. Their behavior often mirrors the actions and examples set by those around them. Beyond protecting children from harmful influences, the President highlighted the importance of fostering a society built on mutual respect and good manners, whether at home or in public spaces. He called for an education system that equips children with the skills needed for the modern era, ensuring they are prepared to carry forward the nation's legacy as patriotic Maldivian Muslim youth. Turning his message directly to children, President Muiz urged them to recognize the value of their formative years. He encouraged them to dedicate every day to acquiring knowledge and striving for personal growth. He reminded them of their religious duties, the significance of Maldivian traditions, and the need to cultivate a profound love for their country, akin to the love they have for their mother. He also cautioned against wasting time, stressed the importance of healthy habits, and reinforced the need to respect and obedience. Reaffirming his commitment to the younger generation, President Muiz declared that children are the embodiment of the Maldives' future, with their growth and success determining the nation's path forward.
President Dr. Mohammad Muiz stresses the urgency of preparing children to navigate the sweeping transformations reshaping the world, warning that their ability to adapt will be the crucial to long-term stability of the Maldives. In a statement on National Children's Day, observed on 10th May, the President stressed that today's children will define the nation's future and must be empowered to meet the evolving changes ahead.
In his statement posted on social media, President Muiz extended his best wishes to children and their families, calling for a concerted national effort to strengthen the next generation's resilience. He likened the task to steering a nation through uncharted waters, arguing that the foundations of future leadership must be laid now. The theme of this year's National Children's Day, Happy Relationships, Happy Moments, Happy Children, underscores the profound role of parental involvement in child development. The theme highlights the lasting impact of meaningful engagement and notes that children will thrive when surrounded by love and encouragement. It stresses that strong familial bonds not only shape character but also provide the emotional stability and support necessary for social and psychological well-being. Ensuring this foundation remains a priority for the government of President Muiz, which continues to implement initiatives aimed at creating a secure and nurturing environment for children. Programs focused on safeguarding their rights, enhancing their welfare, and fostering holistic development remain central to national policy.
President Dr. Mohammad Muiz has defined eradication of corruption as one of the primary objectives of digitalization. He made this statement in his remarks at the inaugural session of Maldives 2.0 Transformation Summit. Addressing the function held at Barcelona Sandra Male, the president shed light on the importance of combating corruption in the unified efforts toward becoming a developed nation. The president expressed gratitude to the government of Estonia, recognized for its successful digital transformation, for supporting the Maldives' efforts towards a similar future. The president emphasized that digitalization could fight corruption through enhanced transparency. He also referred to efforts to establish a unified, interoperable identity system enabling citizens to seamlessly access public and private services backed by strengthened and national cybersecurity architecture. Attributing Estonia's climb to the second place on the 2025 WordPress Freedom Index to the success of its digital transformation, the president expressed hope that the Maldivian experience would allow similar accomplishments through the responsible and speedy information dissemination. At the function, the president highlighted the administration's efforts towards achieving holistic, meaningful, and sustainable development. Reinforcing the emphasis on a good governance, the president announced the goal of transforming the workforce to digitalization in such a manner that 2028 a third of workforce would be employed remotely. In conclusion, the president called for universal support and cooperation in the government's efforts against corruption and urged acceptance in the efforts towards a digital transformation. He assured the relevant legal framework is under construction.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs reveals that Maldives High Commission in Pakistan has been in touch with Maldivians in Pakistan and is continuing to monitor developments closely amid the ongoing conflicts with neighbors India. Nearly 50 people have perished, mainly in Pakistan, since India launched airstrikes on Wednesday targeting terrorist camps and sparking the worst clashes between the neighbors in decades. Pakistan has largely closed its airspace for commercial flights as major airlines operating in the region have either rerouted or cancelled hundreds of flights.
The Maldivian Foreign Ministry, in a statement, said the High Commission of Maldives in Pakistan has been in touch with Maldivian students and is now doing everything it can to ensure their safety and well-being. The statement comes to amid concerned families of some students seeking the government's assistance in bringing them home. The ministry assured that if the situation in Pakistan deteriorates further, it will provide assistance to Maldives in Pakistan, adding that an educational institution and offices in Pakistan remains open and the situation on the ground is presently normal. Any Maldivian in Pakistan in need of assistance has been instructed to contact the hotline of either the High Commission or the ministry directly. The strike on Wednesday came 2 weeks after New Delhi blamed Islamabad for backing an attack on tourists in the Indian administrative side of disputed Kashmir, a charge Pakistan denies. The arch rivals has since exchanged drones and missiles as well as artillery fires across their contested border in Kashmir. The violence has raised fear of wider conflict between the neighbors.
The Maldives National Defence Force (MNDF) launches an assistance operation following reports of a Sri Lankan fishing vessel drifting west of Adu city due to an engine failure.
The MNDF Coast Guard is actively monitoring the situation and providing support to the distressed boat. According to the MNDF, the vessel is currently positioned approximately 70 nautical miles west of Hitadu and is reportedly drifting towards the Hitadu coastline. The fishing boat is described as having a green and blue paint scheme. According to the MNDF, information relayed from the vessel confirms that the crew members remain in good health despite the mechanical failure. The MNDF has assured that measures are underway to assist stranded vessel.
The Minister of Fisheries and Ocean Resources, Ahmed Shiam, reveals that the government is reviewing several excellent proposals to invest in marine culture amid growing interest among investors in the sector.
The government aims to position the Maldives as a major player in the regional mariculture sector, and Minister Shiam, speaking to PSM News, said the attractive industry remains open for both local and foreign investors. The opportunity for mariculture in Maldives is very open, especially for aquaculture. The ministry has already received excellent proposals. So as I said earlier, we can see this industry growing like other industries in the country, he explained. 4 regions have been identified by the government for the development of the mariculture industry within the Maldives. The designated areas are Bortiladumati, which includes Ha Alif and Ha Dal atolls, as well as Ra Atoll, Meme Atoll, and Thayatol. Additionally, a lagoon approximately 2 kilometers from Maniafushi has been allocated for mariculture. Minister Shyam pointed out that the government has introduced significant incentives to attract foreign investment. Land acquisition fees will be waived for plots within the 4 designated areas, and no land rent will be charged for the first 3 years. Furthermore, duty exemptions will be granted for the import of essential equipment. The minister said the government's vision to develop the mariculture industry can only be achieved with the participation of local businesses.
The Deputy Commissioner of the Maldives Police Service, MPS, Ismail Naveen, has urged maximum possible transparency to maintain public confidence in the service.
Acting Police Commissioner DCP Naveen made the remark of meeting held following a major reshuffle of police leadership. Naveen's remark highlights the responsibility of police officers in leadership positions and the importance of working together in a friendly environment. In his speech, DCP Naveen has emphasized the importance of disclosing information that can be made public in the transparent manner in order to maintain the prestige and public confidence in the police institution. Highlighting the multitude of tasks entrusted to the police, Naveen urged all officers to perform the best of their abilities despite the limited staff and resources.
The State Trading Organization STO signs an agreement with Hindustan Latex Lifecare Limited, a company operating under the India's Ministry of Health and Family Welfare.
In recent months, there has been difficulties in obtaining some essential medicines in the Maldives. As part of these efforts, STO has now entered into an agreement with an Indian firm aiming to bring a permanent solutions to the issues faced in importing medicines. According to the STO, the agreement will facilitate access to hard-to-find medication. All pharmaceuticals imported under the agreement will comply with the World Health Organization standards and medicine import regulations. Hindustan Latex Limited is one of the world's largest pharmaceutical suppliers. The company has previously provided critical medicines to the STO during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Ministry of Finance and Planning says that the government has maintained its commitment to the fiscal reform measures by keeping state expenditure down by 21.3% by the end of April.
According to the latest statistics released in its weekly fiscal developments report, Ministry of Finance and Planning revealed that total state revenue had reached USD 875.5 million by 1st May, with total expenditure reported at USD 778.2 million. Of the total expenditure estimated in the approved budget for this year, the government had spent just 24.3% by the end of the first 4 months. The ministry said total government expenditure has declined by 21.3% compared to the same period last year, as the government's efforts to strengthen fiscal policy have been implemented during the year. Amid the government's plan to prioritize the implementation of public sector investment programs, PSIP, capital expenditure has decreased by 75.8% compared to the same period last year. The ministry said transportation costs fell 21.8% and operating costs fell by 8.6%, while recurrent expenditure is down by 3.3%. However, the ministry noted that the expenditure on wages and pension increased by 7.5% compared to the same period last year due to the pay hike of security forces personnel as part of pay harmonization initiative by the previous government. Tax revenue accounted for 78% of total revenue despite a decline compared to the same period last year. The main reason behind the decline is down to some banks having paid some of the bank profit tax due this year in advance last year. However, with the growth of the tourism sector and the recent tax hikes, the state revenue from taxes related to tourism has registered an increase. According to the figures, non-tax revenue so far this year increased 32.3% over the same period last year. Resort land rentals accounted for 20.1% of the revenue. The government has secured 34% of the total revenue and grants earmarked in the budget approval by the parliament in the first 4 months of this year.
In business, bankers and analysts cite sharp rally in Asian currencies is set to boost demands for wealth and forex products as clients seek alternatives to US dollar-denominated assets, and demand for hedging grows amid trade tariff uncertainties.
The rally in the currencies since last week, starting with the Taiwan dollar and spreading outwards to those of China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, and South Korea, sounds a warning for the greenback and is seen as an Asian crisis in reverse. The expectations underscore how President Donald Trump's trade policies are pushing investors out of U.S. assets and moving their money into Asia, amid growing questions about the status of the greenback as a safe haven. Analysts said that a weaker dollar is expected to cloud demand for popular U.S. fixed income assets among wealth management clients in Asia, who may now be more open to investing in local currency denominated assets. The return of assets to Asia will further bolster the allure of the region as a leading global wealth hub.
In international, U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee says that Israel will not be involved in Gaza aid distribution but will take part in providing security.
Israel has been imposing an aid blockade on the enclave since March. Huckabee said the supply of aid was not dependent on reaching a ceasefire. Meanwhile, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs OCHA in Gaza said on May 5th that Israel's proposed aid plan for the enclave contravenes humanitarian principles and puts civilians at risk. OCHA warned that the humanitarian situation in the Strip is worsening as Israel's aid blockade enters its ninth week. After a truce between Israel and Hamas collapsed, trucks lined up in front of Egypt's Rafah border crossing on March 2nd, 2025 after Israel blocked the entry of aid into Gaza. Truck drivers carrying food supplied said they were not allowed to cross the border and were not given any reasons. The head of OCHA in Gaza warns the coming days will be critical under a total blockade as UNRWA warehouses stand empty of food, including flour.
Germany's new Chancellor Friedrich Merz says that Europe supports President Donald Trump's plan for a 30-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine.
Merz, during a visit to Brussels, said that both the EU and the US are prepared to heighten sanctions pressure on Moscow if it does not take peace talks seriously. Depending on his first visit to the European institutions since being appointed, Merz added that the EU and US would continue to support Ukraine, upping their provision if necessary, though he said Germany continued to oppose joint EU debt to finance defense spending.
In sports, the Women's World Cup will be expanded from 32 to 48 teams from the 2031 edition onwards after World Soccer's governing body FIFA said its council approved the proposal at a virtual meeting.
The mother of three, who built a career in finance and holds a managerial position in the banking sector, Nancy El-Hindi, applied to the international test in Seoul in South Korea on December 13 and was informed on March 23 that she successfully earned her rank. Hindi, who also owns a Taekwondo academy, recalled how she joined the Jordanian women's national Taekwondo team in 1991 when it still wasn't recognized by the Jordanian Taekwondo Federation. In 1997, they recognized it. From 1991 to 1997, I used to travel on my family's account. My father was the one paying for all my travels and outings. She said, then the federation started to pay. According to Hindi, training and traveling to South Korea for 10 days to take the Taekwondo exam is considered to be a great effort for a woman who has 3 children and a job other than sports, adding that her next ambition is to earn the 9th Dan to prove that women are capable of it even when they have children and grow older.
Turkey is began to set restoration and reinforcement work on the dome of Hagia Sophia, marking one of the biggest repair efforts in the 1,486-year-old structure.
Hagia Sophia was a cathedral for 900 years until its capture by Ottoman Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror in 1453, after which it was one of Islam's most exalted mosques for nearly another 500 years. The building was converted to a museum more than 70 years ago, but turned back into a mosque by President Tayyip Erdogan in 2020. The process will be difficult and will open an important page in the book of Hagia Sophia, said Asnubil Ben Yeltsin, a Byzantine art historian, adding that the restoration on other parts of the structure have been ongoing for 10 years. The reinforcement project will focus on the weak structural points determined during simulations of a large earthquake in a country crisscrossed by fault lines, said Hassan Firat Taiker, a professor of architecture at the Faith Sultan Mehmet Vakif University. The real structural problems will become more apparent when the lid cover is lifted, he added. The Hagia Sophia is expected to remain open to worshippers and visitors during the restoration process, which makes the repair process more difficult, said Ahmed Gulek, a cultural property conservation and repair expert. The experts did not specify a date for the completion of the restoration of the dome, given potential setbacks due to weather conditions and unforeseen additional needs of its structure.
That's all we have for you for now. Thank you for watching.
We wish all of the children watching TV a very happy and memorable Children's Day.
Wassalamu alaikum.